Instead of Gypsy Rose Blanchard enjoying her baby, she's on the internet trying to flaunt a body. Child, do you see this? Girl, why are you out here doing... I don't know about y'all, but I know me. After having both of my kids, I barely knew the difference between the phone and my room.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard has once again found herself in the spotlight, this time as the center of a storm surrounding her new life as a mother. The internet exploded after a series of TikTok posts emerged, showing a seemingly radiant and carefree Gypsy just days after allegedly giving birth. These posts, showcasing a striking transformation and apparent rapid recovery, sparked heated debates online, with reactions ranging from disbelief to outright skepticism. Questions about authenticity, accountability, and the shadow of Gypsy's controversial past came flooding back, leaving the public divided and hungry for answers.
I was hardly ever on my phone. I didn't even know where my phone was. And I actually had a lot of help. Like, my mom was here, my husband at the time was there. Like, I had help. But I was not focused on I didn't post any body pictures.
The controversy ignited when Gypsy shared photos and videos mere days after supposedly giving birth. In the images, she appeared remarkably slim, with a defined neck and a body hugged by tight clothing, leaving no visible signs of a recent pregnancy. The drastic nature of her transformation instantly raised eyebrows. How could someone recover so quickly from childbirth, especially amidst circulating rumors of medical complications?
After, and my body actually bounced back really well, very fast. So her bouncing back so fast does not surprise me, because I was one that bounced back fairly fast after having my son and my daughter.
How could someone be completely restored to nature from the general fourth quarter of her pregnancy? As the photos made their rounds, internet sleuths analyzed every detail, fueling speculation that ranged from photo editing and filters to the use of a surrogate or something more mysterious.
This girl has faked a lot of stuff. Let's be real. That's no shade. That's just tea. And anyone that feels like people are jumping to conclusions or overreacting, you're gaslighting yourself.
One detail that caught significant attention was the presence of medical bracelets on Gypsy's wrist, visible in her photos. While some speculated these indicated complications like preeclampsia, others dismissed them as standard hospital tags. But the number of bracelets seemed unusually high for someone recently discharged after childbirth, raising even more questions. One particular mark, a reddish blotch, drew widespread speculation, with theories varying from a medical condition to a generic fall risk alert.
And everybody else on this here internet, because you need to be real with the fact of who you're dealing with. This is a woman that manipulated a man with autism and a low IQ for over 2.5 years.
What truly set social media ablaze was Gypsy's behavior following her post. Instead of stepping back to bond with her baby or rest, she actively engaged with followers, responding to comments and even fueling the growing controversy. This led many to question her priorities as a new mother and raised concerns about her readiness for parenthood. Among the most viral theories was the idea that Gypsy had used a surrogate.
Gypsy Rose showing off her postpartum body, saying she is more energized than ever. She is so grateful for everybody who has celebrated her baby in so many different ways.
Critics pointed to inconsistencies in her appearance, noting how her slim figure, lack of visible stretch marks, and seemingly effortless movements didn't align with the expected physical aftermath of childbirth. Particularly striking was her choice of tight clothing.
Gypsy's hospital bracelets, and I know what they are, so I'm here to go over them with you and clear the air. Starting off strong, we had her OG2 bracelets, one for the mother, one for the baby, okay? There was a yellow, a red, and a blue bracelet. The blue bracelet was the one in question. Starting off strong, the yellow bracelet was for allergies.
Something that would be highly unusual, if not impossible, for someone who had just undergone a cesarean section. One user remarked, "If she had a C-section, those clothes wouldn't fit. It'd be too painful to even try." Another added, "She looked more pregnant at her baby shower than she does now. It doesn't make sense." But the timeline of events added fuel to the fire. At her baby shower, held mere days before the alleged birth, Gypsy appeared visibly pregnant.
And blue was for diarrhea. The blue bracelet was specifically for diarrheas because she was going crap on the tables. She walked right into the hospitals and they heard her stomach rumblings and they were like, immediately, blue bracelets. They needed her to have that because everybody needed to be aware that she was going to craps for sure on the tables.
Yet only 4 days later, she was reportedly spotted at a mall looking far from postpartum. A bystander who snapped a photo commented, "She didn't even look like she just had a baby. I wouldn't have guessed she was pregnant at all." This stark contrast between her baby shower appearance and her post-birth outings deepened suspicions and led many to question whether Gypsy had carried the child herself.
Rand was not allowed, even being the dad, he was not allowed to be in the hospital rooms with Gypsy because of that their blue bracelet. There is strict rules with the blue bracelet, okay? They can't have the husbands in there. If they're gonna craft the table, they can't have them.
As social media users dissected her photos frame by frame, theories swirled and debates raged. Some sought clues to confirm or debunk the surrogate theory, while others criticized her for courting attention instead of focusing on her new role as a mother.
So they don't want, a big public figure to go home to their husband with their newborn baby and be embarrassed. So that's why the blue bracelet was set in place for Gypsy that day, because she was going to shaft the tables for sure.
For Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a figure never far from controversy, this latest chapter has once again thrust her into the court of public opinion, where every move is scrutinized, every detail dissected, and every post debated. Instead of addressing the swirling rumors head-on, she seemed to lean into the chaos, showcasing her striking appearance in a series of carefully curated social media posts. This move, while captivating, left her followers divided.
So, did she have a C-section? Can we see a scar?
I don't see a
Why
scar.
is she showing off her
It's
stomach?
lower.
Yeah, I don't either.
Lower down.
I think-
She didn't.
I think it's a natural birth, which is probably worse because that means it could be Ryan's baby because that was early.
Some viewed it as a calculated distraction, a way to deflect scrutiny, while others saw it as yet another chapter in a long history of manipulation. If you've ever spent any time dealing with the complications of social media posts, her refusal to provide a clear explanation only deepened the intrigue. With critics quick to remind everyone of Gypsy's past, a life marked by deception and elaborate fabrications.
I think this is all the crock of shit. I don't believe it.
What's
I
a
think
crock of shit?
That she was even pregnant.
Yeah,
I
me
have a
too.
theory. I'm not saying it's true, but I have a theory that she had a surrogate and she wasn't the one who was pregnant. That's what I'm saying.
I believe that as well.
Because she did not have a belly whatsoever. Did not.
It wasn't.
For many, this raised an inevitable question. Could Gypsy be trusted to tell the unvarnished truth? The surrogate theory quickly became the focal point of the conversation. Gypsy's dramatic physical transformation, paired with her controversial history, lent weight to the idea that she might not have carried her child herself.
Yeah, it was the ever-changing size of the belly.
But
You
with
know-
her being such an attention-seeking person, I feel like she would have wanted to have the baby belly, though. You know what I mean?
I thought
why
so,
would
too.
she need a
Yeah,
surrogate?
yeah, right? That's why it's so confusing.
Yeah, she
Never
never quite had the belly that she wanted. She always had her hand underneath this little, nothing.
Yeah.
One particularly biting comment encapsulated the public sentiment. This is the same woman who convinced the world she was sick and dying. Why wouldn't she lie about giving birth too? For her critics, this wasn't just about whether she had used a surrogate. It was about whether Gypsy could ever escape the shadow of her past and present herself authentically. Looking closer at the medical realities of postpartum recovery, the inconsistencies in Gypsy's narrative only became more glaring. Typically, the postpartum period is marked by significant physical challenges, regardless of whether a woman gives birth naturally or via cesarean section.
The audacity of her, because I mean, she clearly has no shame. We all know this. But after that book, I mean, I would never want to show my face in public ever again. In fact,
Proud of that book.
I know, but how though?
Because she's demented
yeah.
and delusional.
I'll never get that. I'll never understand these people.
After a vaginal delivery, soreness, swelling, and other discomforts can linger for weeks, while a C-section, considered major surgery, requires a recovery period of at least 6 weeks. This involves pain at the incision site, restricted movement, and clear instructions from doctors to avoid strenuous activities. Yet Gypsy's post showed her dressed in tight clothing, moving with ease, and seemingly unaffected by the toll childbirth takes on the body. The public couldn't help but notice the discrepancies. One of the most talked about aspects was her weight loss. While it's true that women lose around 10 to 12 pounds immediately after delivery, thanks to the baby, placenta, and amniotic fluid, the remaining weight from water retention and fat stores typically takes weeks or months to shed. However, Gypsy's photos depicted her as if she'd never been pregnant at all. There was no bloating, no lingering signs of water retention, and no visible stretch marks, leaving many to wonder if she'd carried the baby herself.
So I did bounce back really fast. I was in the hospital for 5 to 6 days, and I'm sure a lot of it was water weight. But I just wasn't interested in posting videos about my body on the internet. I had a newborn that I had to attend.
Stretch marks became another contentious point of discussion. While it's not impossible for someone to avoid them entirely, especially if they have exceptional skin elasticity, it's highly uncommon. Even with rigorous skincare routines, most women develop at least a few during pregnancy, given the significant changes their bodies undergo. Gypsy's lack of visible postpartum effects only added to the skepticism. Then there was her activity level. If she had undergone a C-section, she would likely be dealing with significant physical limitations, including pain, restricted mobility, and a long list of activities to avoid. Yet in her videos, Gypsy appeared unbothered, walking around with ease and showing no signs of discomfort.
And I wanted to attend to. So I think this also shows you where she is at as far as being nurturing and mothering, which we already know she's not that person, just based off of who she is.
This carefree demeanor seemed incompatible with the physical reality of postpartum recovery, especially for someone with alleged complications. For many, the story isn't just about Gypsy's rapid recovery or her apparent postpartum glow. It's about the broader implications of trust, truth, and whether Gypsy Rose Blanchard can ever fully shed the legacy of her controversial past. For anyone familiar with the realities of childbirth recovery, especially after a C-section,
my body actually bounced back really well, very fast. So her bouncing back so fast does not surprise me, because I was one that bounced back fairly fast after having my son and my daughter.
Her swift return to form and apparent ease have raised more than a few eyebrows. Medical response bands visible in her photos only added to the intrigue. These bands, often associated with high-risk deliveries, fueled speculation about possible complications. One in particular led to whispers of preeclampsia, a dangerous condition marked by high blood pressure that requires extended monitoring and limits mobility.
And here is the Blue Band Initiative is an
Why would she
effort.
be a fall risk? She didn't have anesthesia or anything.
Someone want to read that? Thank you.
Epidural give you fall risk.
The Blue Band Initiative is an effort to alert health.
Yet, Gypsy's recovery seemed almost superhuman, with no visible signs of the difficulties typically associated with such complications. The theory that Gypsy might not have carried the baby herself quickly gained traction, offering a plausible explanation for her rapid recovery and lack of postpartum symptoms. While the use of surrogates isn't uncommon among public figures, Gypsy's silence on the matter left many questions unanswered.
Providers about a patient's risk for preeclampsia. Patients who are at risk developing preeclampsia or having elevated blood pressure after giving birth will wear a blue wristband during pregnancy and after delivery.
For her critics, the inconsistencies in her narrative only deepened their mistrust. From a medical standpoint, her journey simply didn't align with what's known about postpartum recovery, especially for a first-time mother. Her transformation, marked by a slim figure, boundless mobility, and an apparent lack of typical postpartum struggles, seemed to defy the realities of childbirth, fueling ongoing doubts about her credibility.
And I thought you were healthy there, Gypsy. Clearly you have complications.
And she also said that she didn't have allergies, so that was a lie.
Another lie. What else do you expect?
As the speculation mounted, Gypsy's behavior in the days following her alleged childbirth became a flashpoint for criticism. Instead of embracing the early joys of motherhood or focusing on bonding with her newborn, she appeared more preoccupied with flaunting her post-baby body and engaging in online drama. This behavior struck a nerve with many, prompting harsh critiques. One scathing comment encapsulated the general sentiment: It's giving narcissistic vibes. What are you doing? Get off the internet and take care of your kid. Another added, this girl is wild. She's not showing remorse for her past or even focusing on her present. She's just chasing attention, and it's embarrassing. Family members who had previously defended Gypsy weren't spared from the backlash either.
This girl has faked a lot of stuff. Let's be real. That's no shade. That's just tea. And anyone that feels like people are jumping to conclusions or overreacting, you're gaslighting yourself.
Miss Rena, a relative who had once vouched for Gypsy's remorse and capacity for change, faced intense criticism. Detractors pointed out that Gypsy's behavior centered around self-promotion and online antics contradicted any claims of genuine redemption. If she's truly sorry for her past, why does she keep acting like this? So, one critic remarked, it's like she's learned nothing. Such sentiments underscored the growing frustration with Gypsy's apparent inability to align her actions with her professed desire for redemption.
And everybody else on this here internet. Because you need to be real with the fact of who you're dealing with. This is a woman that manipulated a man with autism and a low IQ for over 2.5 years.
For many, this controversy is about more than postpartum photos or questionable behavior. It's a reflection of Gypsy's ongoing struggle with credibility. Her past, marred by elaborate deceptions and manipulations, casts a long shadow, making it nearly impossible for some to believe her narrative now. As one panelist remarked during a live discussion, this is a woman who made the world believe she was disabled for years. She lied about everything, from her mother to her co-defendant. Why should we believe her now? By prioritizing social media clout over her newborn and engaging in public feuds, Gypsy appears to be chipping away at the fragile narrative she's tried to build since her release from prison. Instead of fostering trust or repairing her damaged reputation, her actions seem to confirm the long-held suspicions of her detractors. Rather than confronting the growing concerns voiced by critics and supporters alike, her actions seem to be fueling public mistrust. For many, her postpartum photos and videos aren't isolated moments, but part of a troubling, ongoing pattern of manipulation and dishonesty that has defined her past. This controversy isn't just about how she looks post-baby or her social media antics. It's about the bigger picture. It raises pointed questions about whether Gypsy is genuinely capable of change or if she's still stuck in the same cycle of deception and attention-seeking. As one scathing commenter put it, actions speak louder than words, and Gypsy's actions show she hasn't learned a thing. This sentiment echoes the growing consensus that for Gypsy, each misstep further erodes what little trust the public has left. Her postpartum saga also raises deeper questions about her priorities. Is Gypsy truly focused on building a better future for her child, or is she falling back into old habits of chasing attention and manipulating the narrative? Critics argue that her behavior suggests the latter, and her silence on critical points only adds fuel to the fire. With a history as controversial as hers, every action is under intense scrutiny. And for someone trying to rebuild her reputation, these moments are critical. For Gypsy, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every perceived misstep feels like another nail in the coffin of her credibility. People aren't just questioning her transformation, they're questioning her sincerity, her ability to change, and her fitness as a mother. Whether she likes it or not, the world is watching, and right now, it's not buying what she's selling. Only time will tell if Gypsy can break free from this cycle and truly turn over a new leaf. But one thing is clear, every move she makes will be dissected, and for someone with her past, redemption will be a long, uphill battle.